Welcome to Sad Boys, podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jarvis.
I'm Jordan.
Yo, 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 yo.
Yo, 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 yo.
That's me when I am counting yo-yos.
How often does that come up?
More often than you'd think.
Were you ever a yo-yo kid?
I was a yo-yo kid because I come from a time when they would air yo-yo competitions on television. And you see him and you go, that's cool.
That guy is cool and always will be.
Did you ever learn any yo-yo tricks?
I was a bit of a yo-yo Andy. I was weirdly into like, I always feel offended when people assume I was like a theater kid because I was always intimidated by that, or like it was overwhelming and a bit. I didn't want to perform. I wanted like a skill, and so I was really into devil sticks. I was into poi, like
poi, yeah.
I was really into.
I learned
indie
how
yo-yos, but I never got. I had like 3 staple tricks, but then all of nothing competitive. I would have been laughed out of a competitive
Yeah, I was
scene,
gonna say I had. The thing is, I feel like you had to go to a specialty store to get like a real yo-yo, and the yo-yos that they'd sell at like Walmart didn't like do the job.
Yeah, you needed. It's like when people like bring their own pool cues and like screw them together, or a glove before bowling.
I remember I learned to walk the dog. I learned to like do the clock thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of feels like learning like 10 chords. And then, like, to most people, you will seem like you know guitar.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, yep, but then...
I'm sure there's something else I knew how to do at the time, but...
Did you ever do the Diablo?
Yes.
What's the Diablo?
It's the 2 sticks connected by string and then, like, an hourglass type shape that you spin on it.
Oh, that's cool.
And you could, like, throw it up in the air and stuff.
Oh, that.
It is.
I've seen that, but I didn't know what that was called.
This is an appropriately low res image because that is the era. It is a 240p hobby.
Okay, so I feel something that I missed generationally, and I'm wondering if it hit any of y'all, is cup stacking.
That
I
was
think
We did it in school.
Yeah, I feel like
That
there was a
makes sense.
moment. There was a moment for cup stacking. It was a narrow
I think it
window.
kind of nicked us. I think we would have.
I remember like being like, oh, I would do that if I knew where to get the cups.
Yeah. Well, again, it's professional grade cups. You can't do that with solo cups.
Right.
You know,
No. Because they have to have a special, you have to be able to do this.
I know. God, now thinking about it, maybe we should get back into just like toys. It is. I remember when I was a kid thinking, when I'm older and I have money, I'm buying all the toys I want. I'm getting all the Lego. I haven't played with Lego in, I don't know, 15 years.
Lego is just like a whole other thing. Like, remember when Stans did that stream where he made the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah.
And then it was like on the floor and then you stepped on it?
Yeah, I remember some of that story. I don't think that. Thankfully, it wasn't being recorded, so that's.
my sister likes to get me Legos for Christmas. Like, I would say like the last 5 years or whatever, but she always gets me those really classy ones that are like a potted plant.
Right.
Or
the graphic design is like all boutique. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed making the last one, which was like an orchid. I would never own an orchid in real life because they're impossible to keep alive.
Yeah.
So having a Lego one decorating my living room is quite nice.
A big toy thing for me was the Power Rangers toys that all fit together because the Zords.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did have those. But then I feel like...
Did you keep them individual or did you put them together and leave them like that?
I think I would like take them apart and put them together because I was probably doing in-universe fan fiction
Riffing out
type
some
stuff.
scenes,
Yeah,
yeah.
riffing out scenes.
Which is not playing with dolls, it's boy stuff. It's action figures.
I think it's playing with dolls and,
No.
and that's good.
No, and painting miniatures is for grown-ups.
A lot of toys I wanted, like specific Digivices, like because Digimon, when it was on the air and popular, they would sell like almost like they would sell essentially Tamagotchis, but Digimon style, because you'd basically be caring for like a little.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It hatches out of a digi egg and then you're like taking care of it. And the whole concept, it made perfect sense for like the concept of the show being these like digital monsters that exist in the digital world. So I think I had one, but I kind of wanted all of them.
A lot of maintenance, or are we talking fatality if not fair?
I think so. And
This episode of Sad Boys is sponsored by Aura Frames.
let's be real. Every family has a story of like the one time things got a little crazy.
Trip that went completely sideways.
The holiday that went awry, the everyday moment that spins out of control. We've got those stories and then they become a part of the lore, you know? Mm-hmm. With today's sponsor, Aura Frames, you now have the perfect way to capture that lore in perpetuity.
Aura Frames let you store and share unlimited photos and videos, add them from anywhere, anytime, directly from your phone.
You can even preload photos before it ships, so when it arrives, it's full of memories. Like, for example, the time that I pranked Jordan and I tarred and feathered him and I took all these photos. I can send Jordan the Aura frame with a note that says, remember this beautiful time that we shared together.
And I unfortunately had turned it around on you, which is the photo I sent to you when it was a double that I had hired. And in fact, the tar was on you.
Oh.
And everyone laughed and I was cool.
I see. And that happened.
Every frame comes in a premium gift box, no price included. And the Aura Frames app is so good, is so premier, that it hit #1 on the App Store on Christmas Day 2025.
Named #1 by Wirecutter this Mother's Day, you can save on a gift that people actually use. Anastasia's mom got one of these last Mother's Day and still uses it.
She loves it.
Visit auraframes.com, code SADBOYS to get $25 off their best-selling Carver mat frame.
That's auraframes.com, promo code SADBOYS.
You could mention the show at checkout if you like. Terms and conditions apply. Thanks to Aura Frames for sponsoring this episode.
Back to the episode.
There were also those dogs. Do you remember the dogs that like had light up eyes and they would like flap their ears?
Oh, the little like robot one?
do
Yeah,
flips
they're
and
robot
stuff?
dogs.
Yes.
They don't do flips.
No.
Are they like kind of have like a cool visor? Or is that
Kind
only
of,
the
yeah.
flipping?
In fact, it became so popular that there was a McDonald's version of it, I
Yes.
think.
This sounds familiar. It's always interesting to me what manages to float the Rubicon, what manages to go across internationally.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah, did you
cool
have
dog.
something? Because I feel like
But there was not a Lincoln log in sight. Those things I never fucking heard of.
Yeah, you guys didn't care for Lincoln much.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was resentment.
Yeah.
We'll use regular logs.
Wow, he managed to keep the union together. Fuck. Interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say
you've
a big
alarmed.
word?
He doesn't like swears.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
When I was very little, it was Cabbage Patch dolls. They were really hard to get. I wanted them so badly.
Can we please pull up an image of because I have this Cabbage Patch dolls because I have this problem where garbage pail kids
Cabbage
have
Patch.
replaced that in my brain.
Well, because they were a parody. They were like making fun of, which I also had Garbage Pail kids cards.
Wait, what's that? All the way over on the right, there was like a little one that looked like the Four Seasons baby. Yeah, there it is. Who wants to be a creepy doll?
Is that Aaron Paul below that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey.
Why?
Glamour magazine
Why?
wearing. Is that
Aaron Paul?
That is Aaron Paul 100%. Yeah.
I was gonna say it kind of looks like he's been face fusioned with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, you're out the dream.
Oh, there he is.
You never knew that Aaron Paul held two of them while staring soulfully into a camera. I guess I didn't.
Yeah, no, that's true. In 2006.
You got me on
You know
that.
what looks so sick? If you look at those photos from like the Nintendo DS launch party in LA.
Oh my God, yes.
Like those things, like, wow, it feels like a vibe. It's like it was like Zach and Cody. It's like Cole and Dylan Sprouse. Like,
Looks like Donald Faison was there.
like
That makes sense. Very Scrubs era. Every single girl I knew in this era was like, you should dress like that. Fedora, which makes no sense. I thought the fedora was supposed to be a thing we made fun of. I guess we got to that later. Loose tie, like, and there's completely ignoring the fact that if I even drifted into that realm, I would be relentlessly bullied. There's no way you could get away with it. Our school uniform had a like sweater and you get that
fedora.
photo for running. Imagine, oh my God.
yeah, there's like Nelly holding an SP.
Oh, that's awesome. Is that JT?
And then there's some Avengers, but that seems too new.
Yeah, there on the right there. Is that JT? With the number
Justin
6
Timberlake,
on it?
yeah, holding
There
the
he
SP before the tour got ruined.
That's true.
There's like Pharrell on like a console. Like I'm like, wow, they were really living the life.
I feel like that hit so hard at the time because I'm like, it's not for babies. Look,
It's for cool celebrities.
I'm Pharrell, and I don't know who that is yet in the past.
You were saying you were watching some basketball. I felt like a proud father.
I went over to a friend's to play some board games last night, and to offset how dorky that is, we,
Right.
carbo loaded
do a little
some
jock stuff,
cool
yeah.
We saw a little bit of it, and I just like, it's so funny to me. anytime like any athlete, but it's so much more noticeable with Wemby because he's like there's so much more of him than like
Dude,
everyone. Can
it's
you
like
imagine what that fucking feels like?
Already watching basketball on television, you get like this warped sense of scale because everyone looks relative to each other, and so they seem like their average height. And then you see like them next to a referee, and you're like, oh, they're all giant. Like people think
the referee's
that
an
like
adult.
people think that like Steph Curry's small, or like I can point it out like on the field. You know, like, oh, Bronny James, he looks so tiny. Bronny James is like my height.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My first situation with that was back in the early 2000s. I was a huge fan of Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire on the Suns and would go to games and stuff. Like, it's not like I didn't see them in person, but when you see Steve Nash next to Amari Stoudemire, Steve Nash looks tiny. And then one time I saw him in the Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall, and I think he's 6'2".
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, whoa, he's actually tall.
But yeah, so Wemby, to give you some context on that series, so it was, it's the first round of the playoffs right now. Spurs were playing the Portland Trailblazers, and they are favorites to win that series because the Spurs are one of the best teams in the league right now, like going into the postseason.
So they have a freakish tentacled samurai.
Dude, it's not even just Wemby though. It's like they basically were like tanking for years before they got Wemby, and they have Stephon Castle, like Dylan Harper was the second pick of the last draft behind Cooper Flagg, and of course they have Wemby. They have sixth man of the year Keldon Johnson.
Keldon Johnson just released or just put out a Players Tribune, which everyone should go read that if they're interested, because it's a good background on like how the Spurs put this team together. Yeah,
and it's cool because it's like they kind of have a famously like do things the right way type organization. And so game one, they win. Wemby, broke Tim Duncan's record for like a rookie debut. I think he had 35 points. It's like, yep, this is going to be the series. And then game two, Wemby actually goes down with a concussion. So his
head's so far up.
And that's part of the problem. There's a lot of gravity. Like gravity has a long time to do its work.
Yeah, just like when like an Ava falls over.
Yeah. And so he like lost his balance and he threw the ball away, but it didn't give him time to like put his arms out in front of himself. And so he ended up hitting his head against the floor. It was very hard to watch. And of course they kept showing it too, which I hate.
I know, I always hate
I'm
that.
not squirmish for like most injury. I'm not gonna be like medical stuff. That stuff wigs me out a little bit. Mostly if someone like bails on a skateboard or something, you can kind of look at it. There's something about like, it's like right in the middle in like the uncanny valley of getting a relatable injury.
Yeah.
That I can't watch that shit.
Yeah, it's relatable because I could be playing in the NBA.
Right. It's like, and my career could be on that. And my team's relying on me.
Well, yeah, of course.
In the same sense that
we're in the playoffs. Everything matters.
We're like fulfilling the role that Robin Williams fulfills in Good Morning Vietnam for the Army. We're the the podcasters on the team. Yeah. With bench only.
Right.
And we're just like, nice. Yeah, good.
We're like quite literally bench warmers. Like our body heat is meant to just keep everybody comfortable.
Oh, Mr. Wembanyama, please take a seat. We've kept it nice and warm for you.
But so then he went into concussion protocol, which kept him out for like 4-ish days. So he missed game 3. So they played without Wemby game 3, but they still won because their team is like honestly really good. And so then they wrapped up the series pretty handily I think their biggest margin of victory was the game last night.
Maybe that had something to do with me.
Yeah, maybe.
They were like, this guy's about to play Wingspan.
I watched game 2 though when I was at this YouTube event.
You were the summit man, the summit Andy?
Yeah, I went to this YouTube summit in California, and it's like a thing with like the YouTube executive team and a bunch of, they like have like maybe 100 creators. There's like a group photo that Neil Mohan posted, the CEO of YouTube, and conveniently cropped me out.
Can I just say it wasn't just Jarvis?
No, it was just me. It was just me.
What if it was like?
Yeah, it's just like
perfect.
It's like I'm in the middle of the crowd, and
It's like generative fill is just more.
Yeah.
Generative absence.
I'm curious. Like, so this is the image that. So Oprah was a special guest,
What if
and
they got Terra out?
and that was certainly interesting.
so anyone in the wings.
So you'll notice on the left-hand side, you have Darman. So yes, I was in the same room
Nice.
with Dar, and I've talked to him before. This time I did certainly avoid him because I didn't want to have to answer for the video I made about him.
Not
Becoming
that you would have to answer for anything.
the NFL.
He should answer for.
Well, when he was the NFL's chief kindness officer, and I was like, what does this even mean? Yeah, in fairness, I could have talked to him. He's usually pretty fine. But you can see some people are cut off.
But I mean, there's even a little bit of them in there. That's kind of nice.
Did I send the full wide of this?
Yeah, we were just looking at it, and it's funny. I remember you being in it kind of on the right side of the.
Yeah, so this is the full photo.
You got
And if you look on the far right hand side,
Yeah, Jacob enhanced.
You got trolled.
what happened here? It's actually me and Courtney and Shane.
Didn't want any.
My goats. They were and I was smiling. We were all smiling at the last minute because here's what happened. They were like simultaneously rushing this photo to happen, and then for whatever reason we were towards the back because we're like we're the cool kids in the back of the class.
Yeah.
And then some people were like trying to usher us forward, and in ushering us forward, we had to like go on the outside to come in, and then they were taking the photo too quickly, so we had to like all smile very hurriedly here, which is why we all look like this.
You're cheesing.
You all look great.
I don't know if this is, maybe I'm going to sound absolutely mental, but there's something about zooming into an image like this that feels true crimey.
Yeah,
As soon as you do, like,
I feel like 90 Day
turns
Fiancé does
black and
this.
white.
Whenever they show photos that like the two parties send to each other, they always look like I'm watching a documentary about the life and death of someone.
Yeah, well, it's always that. I think what it is it's that slow motion thing. Where it's like slowly panning across the screen.
Yeah, the Ken Burns. Yeah. So I will say I want to give some special shout outs. I want to shout out. I want to shout out Shane and Courtney. First of all, they were like my home base. I want to shout out Michael from M&J TV, the Pokemon goat. We hung out a bunch. Shout out Maya Higa. Maya Higa and I watched the end of the Spurs game at the Oprah. Like Oprah was like,
Yeah, what was she up to?
Oprah decided to hang out.
She gets on the phone.
She gets on the what?
On the list of the goats.
I mean, look, I didn't chat with Oprah. I decided not to chat with Oprah because I'm like, what do I have to say to Oprah?
You're Oprah.
Well, also,
The Oprah thing was so like, I also think that over time, like I have like some negative opinions about how Oprah has behaved as
that's
a
what I
billionaire.
was going to say. It's like, what are you going to say to Oprah that's not like, give Hawaii back that land?
So that's my thing is like, it's like, I don't like to, I'll like stand on business, but I don't want to like lie. I won't lie to people's faces. So, but I also won't go out of my way to be rude.
Yeah, in the interest of, this isn't your house.
It's not my house. So I'm just like, it's very nice that Oprah is standing and talking to people while everyone's eating. But me and Maya Higa were like watching the Spurs game on someone's phone. And then it was the game that they like lost at the last minute because of Wemby's injury.
Imagine how charming it would have been if she came over and she was like, oh man, there goes Wemby. And she's like relating to you and stuff and dapping you up. Pretty cool.
Cutie was there, Cutie Cinderella. So shout out. We didn't get to chat very much, but we did talk a little bit. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of people there, lots of YouTubers, Sophia Nygaard, Michelle Carre.
This episode of Sad Boys is sponsored by GLD.
All right, think about this for a second, okay? Everyone has a go-to piece. You need it. You need the daily driver of your outfit.
My little shoes that go with everything. Imagine there's shoes on my feet.
Imagine that one pair of jeans that fits just right and left. There you go. But most guys are missing one thing from that lineup. Jewelry.
But that's where GLD comes in. You see, they make the kind of pieces that become part of your routine.
Not just something you save for special occasions or once in a while?
Come on, mate.
Once you add a GLD chain to your rotation, you'll never go back. GLD uses real gold, and every single stone is meticulously hand set. Plus, they use a proprietary production process that ensures the highest quality for your jewelry. You can literally see the difference.
We're talking about one of those pieces you put on once and it never comes off.
And GLD has everything. Chains, pendants, rings, earrings. Whatever you need, GLD's got you. Even an iced out watch, GLD's got you. GLD offers something for every budget, from 18K gold plated to solid gold and natural diamonds. Whatever your price point, GLD has something for you.
And don't just take our word for it. We're just a couple of cool, stylish knuckleheads, okay?
Yeah.
Don't listen to us. Because over 2 million customers
And 50,000 5-star reviews.
back it up. Wow. Not to mention, it's worn by some of the biggest names out there. Count them up again. We're talking about Justin Bieber, Michael Parsons, A$AP Rocky, and a ton more.
That's a lot. The best part, every single piece is guaranteed for life. It's literally built to last for the rest of your days.
Work hard.
And change the game. For a limited time only, new customers are getting a ridiculous deal. Use code SADBOYS at checkout to get 40% off your order at GLD.com.
40% off with code SADBOYS at GLD.com.
That's what I said. But thanks to GLD for sponsoring this episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, there's another photo. Oh, so this is a familiar face. Tom from Game
Found you.
Theory.
My rival.
And he looks disgusted.
We actually
at
shot
what you're
something,
saying.
I guess, with Tom that won't have come out.
We're not coming out
so-
yet, but I think it's fair to say that we have an extremely unpleasant and contentious relationship with him. And people are more than fair to spread that around.
This is me asking the CEO and executive team of YouTube a question about what protections they're going to instill on the platform for creators against like the looming threat of AI slop and its ability to like extract ad dollars from the pie that we all like share as like members of YouTube.
That very much is that pose. That is a TED Talk kind of like extrapolate.
It is one of those things where I'm like, I am kind of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. And I knew generally the question I wanted to ask, but I didn't write it before. Some people like had scripted questions and stuff.
I guess that makes sense.
And I'm like, it makes sense. But I was like, I'm pretty sure I had this together. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm going to rattle it off and here goes nothing.
You're very good off the cuff.
Well, thank you.
I think you're one of the best off the cuffers
Wow.
that I've ever heard.
That's what 20 years of podcasting will do to you.
20 years of
that's true.
podcasting,
Along with neural degradation.
neural degradation, a little bit of ADHD.
I mean, that is very much if there's like a core competency you have,
Well, thank
it
you.
is the improv, I guess.
I will say that I was pleased that they are aware of and acknowledge the concerns that I had, because and have been kind of monitoring the situation from even before it was like feasible. Because it is like there is this inflection point where you can be aware that like cost and effort to create the slop reaches a point where the floodgates open.
Yeah.
But like it could have existed before, and so they are definitely working on it, which is good. But there are also like, we're just in a time from a messaging standpoint, they're in a very pro AI bubble.
Yeah.
And
It's almost inconceivable that you wouldn't be to them.
and so that's the concern for sure, where it's like, even in the answer to my question, there's a little bit of like, well, not all AI is bad. And it's like, okay, well, it's like, we don't have to compliment sandwich.
Yeah. Something
algorithm.
that is data.
Yeah.
It's not a person,
It doesn't
actually.
have feelings, but it's a thing that like, okay, well, we have all of these initiatives that hinge upon some of this technology. And so the leadership of the company is limited in what they, how candidly they can speak, because it can impact the morale of like a large organization.
Which is always going to end up kind of, even if not on purpose, it's going to become the I love pancakes, oh, you hate waffles.
Yeah.
Right? Like, well, all the AI is not bad. Like, I asked what time it is. That wasn't related to the thing.
No, it is one of those things where YouTube is one of the best suited platforms to address these problems. So I haven't seen the tools and stuff that they've enacted or what their kind of plan of action is. Because I haven't seen that though, that I remain hopeful. Obviously, like I tried to call out that, there have been existing policies, but I like made videos about how folks have skirted those
Yeah.
things. Or the big question is like, how do you define slop? And it's like, okay, it's like Italian brain rot is generative AI.
And does the perceived quality matter at all, really?
Right.
Like if it perfectly emulates the thing they wanted it to emulate and the average audience isn't going to spot or be bothered by it, is that any different than just some
And it
trash?
is a thing where it's like you don't want to put your thumb on the scale too much or like be the decider of what is and isn't speech, like that is valid on the platform. But I think that we're reaching a time where we actually need more of that thumb on the scale.
Because somebody else's thumb's on the other side.
Yeah,
So
because because also you run the risk of encapsulating all of the existing inequities in our society into these algorithms. Like that's how we get the HP webcam that can't recognize black people. Yeah. Like that, I always use that as an example, or like the time that Google Photos categorized black people as like gorillas.
Yes. I think if you don't think broadly, if you consciously, kind of a weaponized ignorance type thing, if you don't think broadly and you say, DEI programs are unfair, that doesn't make any sense, and it's unreasonable, so we're making everything even. That only makes any sense if you ignore every other factor in the world and everything that's ever happened in history. Like if you say well, why did that happen? And it's like, well, there probably wasn't somebody in a position of authority that called it out and would even suggest it as a possible issue.
It's like, as a corporation, like we always have to kind of hold YouTube to the fire. But of course, there's a difference between YouTube and the individuals who work there. And, every individual that I've really ever interacted with cared very deeply about their job and creators and stuff. It's just YouTube operates at such a scale that it's difficult to communicate in a like lossless format to like actually get the right sentiment and information to people about what creators are feeling on the ground and what audiences are feeling. But I remain optimistic.
We remain on it. Here we are. Chilling out. We're literally inside a little thumbnail. People don't know that when they click the thumbnail, we feel it.
I do, yeah.
It hurts a little bit.
It hurts. The pointer's pretty pointy.
Yeah, could you please
It's
get
like being
a
poked
custom
with a
one?
stick.
Yeah, can you get a nice one? It's that finger, actually, honestly. When it goes over us and then they do that, it's like, we gotta get in the
Preferably
cheek.
you click on the title instead of the thumbnail.
Right.
But
Oh my God, wait.
People aren't. Oh.
I have a complaint.
Oh.
If you go on like youtube.com and you look at a homepage, every single time I want to click on a thumbnail, I accidentally click the part that takes me to the YouTube help page about branded content. Does that happen to anyone else?
Wait.
In the top left-hand corner, when it's like include sponsored content,
Wait. Oh.
it just so happens that I always click right in that area because it didn't used to, because my muscle memory developed at a time that didn't happen.
Left-handed?
I use a mouse right-handed.
What the hell?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, well, it's because
You have to.
It's because to use a mouse left-handed, every mouse and thing at school, I would have to like move it to the other side. So I just learned
Plus,
right-handed.
the clicker isn't
You could-
depending on the mouse style.
Yeah, it's like,
Sometimes it's like the pointer finger clicker only, right?
it's kind of like when you use left-handed scissors because it's like shaped for a way, but because it's usually for mice, there's a shape of like it's meant to go inside to outside. So when you mirror it, the same thing. No, if it's not symmetrical, you still run into the problem. But I just never left-hand mouse. I will sometimes left-hand trackpad.
It's nice that it's honestly kind of cured you of your demonic problem in a way. It is nice to just, what way do you play a Guitar Hero controller?
I do lefty.
You right hand on the frets?
Right hand on the frets, yeah. So I do lefty flip, which is another. It's like a regret of mine because there is a certain shame you feel when you start a thing, and then the thing starts coming out, and then you realize it's not on lefty flip, and you go, oh, sorry, and then you have to stop and like go into the settings, and then flip it to lefty flip, and then you can shred.
Being pernickety, Prince was a very fussy individual, and I believe left-handed.
Yeah.
But then Jimi Hendrix.
He betrayed you.
I learned to play a little. I learned to play guitar like Jimi Hendrix.
He betrayed you.
Not well, but I did like do what he does, which is I just hold the guitar upside down. But the thing is, Jimi Hendrix never had to play Guitar Hero because he would have to read backwards.
Yeah, he would never be able to play.
He would never be able to play Guitar Hero.
You read it like manga.
Jimi Hendrix would never play Guitar Hero the way that I can play Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Can we say it? He's a hack.
Yeah, there is like a deterministic thing about your hand. Because I do feel like, yeah, you can get fine or you can be ambidextrous, but there is a natural aptitude.
Yeah.
I feel.
for sure.
Did you do the like writing right to left sometimes like per word to not smudge it thing?
No, I would just smudge.
Respect.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Did they ever want you to change it? Did anyone ever be like, you say it?
No, no one ever cared. I think I'm not that old because I think that it was like a bygone.
Oh, by the time I got to school, they were like, you can be left-handed. But my sister...
They're like, we're actually pretty woke here.
Progressive.
Yeah, we're a progressive school.
As long as you're straight and cis.
When my sister was learning, she would move the pencil from, or crayon or whatever you do in kindergarten, from hand to hand. She was like figuring it out, you know?
Smart. Running
And
experiments.
they were like, stop that.
What?
Like, I think at one point they were like, put your left hand behind your back kind of thing.
She could have been perfectly ambidextrous. She was figuring it out both at the same
I
time.
know.
Slow that down.
Isn't that cool? My sister got spanked in school too. I know. She was the last era of spanking.
So you
No one's
dodged
been
him,
spanked since.
Can't happen. No one knows how. It's a lost art.
They had a paddle
like
hanging
Latin.
on the wall, and bad kids got paddled.
I've seen that. I've seen that in like one-room schoolhouses from like 100 years ago.
No, this was in Florida.
That's such a Matilda thing to do. You know what I mean?
There was a one-room schoolhouse that was called the one-room schoolhouse in Gainesville. I don't know much about it. Just that this kid on my friend who lived on my street went there.
Where I'm from, there was like a very particular like tier of, because I know there's private schools and public schools, but like in Stroud at least, shout out to the Gloucestershire Massive, there was like very much a hierarchy of poshness descending and then landing. I'm going to say maybe Archway, we were maybe rocking somewhere near the bottom. Maybe we were the bottom. I'm wondering if it's like just a British kind of class system framing where like Marling was like the boys' private school and then Stroud High was the name of the girls' one. Not very imaginative. I felt like I always had an association in my brain of like, okay, well, if you're posh, you have to go to those. Because you test into them, but like also I think maybe you have to pay for it. I'm not actually crystal clear on that. Are there enough schools or like considered rival schools to be like, oh, that's the prep school with a...
The most exclusionary thing that happened in my hometown was just school zoning. Yeah. And I think some schools were better than others and had programs that others didn't. And so...
Can you only attend one in your zone?
There is something called magnet schools.
Yeah.
Magnet schools is a school that any kid from any zone can go to. But
you have to be like accepted. Like you need like a special permission, basically.
Like magnate, like that.
No, like magnet as in zoop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because they attract people from all
let's
over.
say you have
Is it really cool? That's so whimsical.
So it would be like science specific.
Yeah.
Or there was one in Tucson that's like arts and performance specific.
My Howard Bishop Middle School, which is where I went to middle school,
shout outs,
had like a technology. It had a magnet program, and that is just called that. And it was called I think it was called the Academy.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
I think. And I had to apply.
Dude, that's the same name as Patrick Bet David's fiction book that he wrote like a couple of years ago. Pretty cool. Weird coincidence.
But it was, and their thing was, it was like technology themed. It was simply that we had
like an escape room.
Well, no, because it was like all normal, and then there was like a technology class. One of our subjects was technology,
and that was maybe one of the magneting things.
Supposedly, I think I was able to go because I got good like FCAT scores, which was my the standardized test.
Federal.
Florida
comprehensive assessment test. But
of course it's not federal.
Yeah.
It's literally a state.
It's a state. Yeah. This episode of Sad Boys is sponsored by ZocDoc.
Life can feel like a big puzzle sometimes, you know what I mean? Big old jigsaw. You're trying to fit all the pieces together.
Would you like to play a game?
Would you like to figure out your lifestyle?
No.
Not especially. My relationships, my finances, my career, my passions, and, of course, the most devious one of all, your healthcare.
But finding care shouldn't be the trickiest piece of the puzzle, and that's why ZocDoc makes it easy to find and book an appointment with a doctor that fits your needs.
ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you book high-quality, in-network doctors so you can find someone you love.
Whether you're looking for dermatology, dentistry, eye care, primary care, or any of the 200 plus specialties available on ZocDoc, you can easily search by specialty or symptom to build the care team that's right for you.
Want to see your doctor in person? No problemo. Prefer a video visit? You can do that too.
View thousands of verified patient reviews and get a true sense of who your doctor is. Maybe they hate small talk as much as you do, or even root for the same sports team. Whatever it is, you can be certain that you're going to find a doctor that you'll love.
You can see their actual real-time availability and click to instantly book a visit. No phone tag, no waiting around, no fuss, no freaking drama.
Appointments through ZocDoc happen fast. We're talking 24 to 72 hours of booking, and you can even get same-day appointments.
So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/sadboys to find and instantly book a doctor you'll love today.
That's ZocDoc.com/sadboys. ZocDoc.com/sadboys. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this episode.
Can I ask you, do you know what an almond mom is?
The beige mother type materials.
It sounds like you're like into health foods and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Or
that's
a
close to it.
Before we get into the topic, I just want to give a content warning for discussion of disordered eating, eating disorders, body image stuff, and like relationships that are like contribute to negative body image.
So it actually originates from Gigi Hadid.
Oh,
Because
friend of the show.
Gigi Hadid told a story of telling her mother that she was hungry and Yolanda saying, have 6 almonds.
Oh.
Well, so a couple of years ago, my dad was in town and I introduced him for the first time to my good friend Echo. And when we left, Echo goes, your dad's kind of an almond dad. And I had never heard anyone talk about men as an almond whatever.
Oh.
It has always been almond mom.
I see.
But my dad is an almond dad. He's always like, we had a big lunch. We don't need to eat dinner. And it's like, I need to eat dinner.
Wait,
you do whatever
what?
you want, but I'm gonna eat dinner.
And he's doing that as in the same vein as like discouraging certain body habits, or like
he is. I love my dad.
I love him.
He's done so many positive things for me, but he, like all of us, is a work in progress.
Yeah.
And so I might speak a little ill of him right now, but
he is a Greek god. And we appreciate that about him.
But he and his parents gave to him, and he then gave to me, a emphasis on appearance.
Yeah.
Appearance is the most important thing in the world to my dad's parents and then to him. When he and his brother get together, I'm like, please stop talking about people's appearances. Like,
Interesting.
The gossips.
I mean, kind of like, but sometimes it's to them positive. Like my sister's husband lost a bunch of weight. I didn't discuss it. My sister didn't discuss it. I guess my uncle saw it on the internet and then could not, when we all were having like a little family reunion, he goes, he looks so good. He lost so much weight. He like couldn't stop talking about it. And then my sister goes, I'll give him to you. Do you want to marry him? You can have him if you want, like jokingly, because that's how my sister
She doesn't
is.
love him.
I remember when I was streaming more regularly, like around the pandemic, and I hated like positive or negative, like any discussions of my body.
Just don't do it. Like my policy is you never need to comment on anyone's body, positive or negative.
Yeah.
If you think it's positive, that person might think it's negative, you know?
Yeah.
And there's always the like, if someone is insecure about something, they're going to have cultivated like almost a defense mechanism against feeling better about it, because insecurities, it's a symbiote, right? It gets in your brain, it's locked in, and it wants you to feel it, and it makes you want to feel it. Like it creates that cycle because it doesn't want you to take it out.
Right.
So I find that like if you are insecure about something and it is brought up unprompted by you, my first instinct goes, so you were thinking about it. Like,
So that's the thing.
someone's like, wow, your teeth are looking really good since the Invisalign. I'm like, so what did you think? It's a nice thing, but I'm like, but what did you think about
Yeah.
it? You know, you're going to default to the.
I've had lots of people in my life who have been like, you look so good. Did you lose some weight? And I'm like, no, I didn't. But now I know you think I would look better if I lost weight.
Yeah.
You know?
Or best case scenario, you thought I looked bad.
Oh, you don't look like trash. Interesting.
no.
What's this? Did you shower or change the new person?
Yeah, it's just like I think that there's so many things to compliment someone on or to observe, and most of them should be choices that person's actively making. Like if Jordan wears a cool jacket, it's not like attached to it's not a part of his body, you know? It's like a choice he made in the morning.
Well, and like I've had friends be like, oh, I got my hair cut. I'm not sure what I think about it. What do you think? It's like they explicitly
invited, yeah.
asked for my opinion. I'm probably going to be like, I think you look great. All of that is to say there is a kind of jokey trend on TikTok and other social media about something called Almond Husbands.
Can I say that I think that a lot of people will relate to that, because I was just at dinner last night and I was like hearing people share similar stories about the relationships that they have with their families, where there's like these little like death by 1,000 cuts type comments and stuff that just like don't lead to a good place.
As soon as somebody acknowledges out of nowhere, in a positive or negative sense, acknowledges your like form, acknowledges the flesh.
Yeah, man.
I all of a sudden, it's kind of like an aura starts glowing around me and I go, oh my God, bones, body, flesh, face, teeth, head.
It's like I want to be a mist.
Yeah, I suddenly realize I exist.
Yeah,
Like you start floating and you're like, oh, wait, now I'm realizing you can see the way I'm sitting. I can see the way I sound.
Most of the time I don't want to be perceived. You know what I mean?
Exactly. When
I mean, exactly.
also, pandemic for me was like a time that I wasn't being very like kind to my own body, and I also like gained a bunch of weight due to like some unhealthy eating habits, and you know, coping just with the state of the world. And I remember like becoming somewhat agoraphobic, like not wanting to go outside because I didn't want to be perceived.
Yeah.
And that was like really hard to get over. And I think that some of my social atrophy is like due to that period in time where I like just feel like I lost some of those muscles of like just going out and being about.
It is, atrophy is the perfect way to put it, because it is like, it's not really something you then rebuild back up to where it was.
Yeah.
You now have like different muscular structure. It might be more confident than ever or less confident than ever, but it is like that guy is someone else.
Yeah.
That is just a very different way of engaging with the world, especially with insecurities when you're younger. I mean, it's so much more volatile.
Jordan was making a joke because I choose to be off camera. So when I said, I don't want to be perceived, and he pointed to me and was like, yeah, you're off camera. I don't want to be perceived.
It's like one of those things where you don't want to mention it in every episode, but I imagine someone's like, wow, they never put that woman on camera.
Okay, let's watch one of these almond husbands do their thing.
Eat an almond. Wow.
Hey, babe, I'm going to eat this almond.
Misunderstanding the trend so hard.
Things my almond boyfriend has around the house. Yeah, so the almond husband, by the way, it's a bad thing, question mark.
Being an almond boyfriend?
Okay.
Because this is like, you know the drill, eye emoji, hashtag biohacking, hashtag longevity.
So this one, it almost feels like she's bragging. Sometimes they're like laughing at their husband, and sometimes it seems like they're bragging about their husband.
Things my almond boyfriend has around the house. An almond.
Things my almond boyfriend has around the house, part 5.
He has a
British.
red light toothbrush. This is meant to be much better for your gum health and reducing inflammation.
In times like these, because I feel like we're all being told about 1 million products a minute. And I don't know if if there's like research there.
I feel like every few months I learn about a new light.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's
blue
the same thing,
was
like,
rocking, but
remember
blue
when
bad.
everyone was like charcoal? Put
Yeah.
it in your skin, on your teeth, and
put
and
it all
then-
over your face. Wear a costume. Paint your lips red. Be Justin Trudeau. This was what people were saying.
And everyone was like, "It's good for this. It's good for that." And then people were like, "No, it's not good for any of this."
Is that
I didn't
consensus?
get the update.
Yeah,
Is it
fuck.
bad?
We're not on the mailing list. I was like,
covered in charcoal.
I just think it doesn't do what it says it
It
does.
kind of just
And-
is putting charcoal in
And
your
you're
mouth.
actually not supposed to put it in your mouth.
That's crazy.
my toothpaste right now
A
has
whole
charcoal in it.
industry of charcoal toothpaste.
See, but I think red light is similar, where it's very mainstream right now.
Unbleached loo paper in all the bathrooms.
you
Can't be
paper.
having chlorine and harsh chemicals down there. An air purifier.
Okay. I was gonna say these things don't feel like the same order of magnitude.
Yeah, I was
No.
learning about like I didn't even know you could get
Almond
unbleached
is
toilet
specifically
paper.
about appearance, not health.
What is the thing with? But I guess they're co-opting it. It wouldn't be the first time that's happened online. What is the benefit of the unbleached toilet paper?
When you eat it.
But it's like,
It's just more natural, less
yeah, but I'm like,
processed.
is the bleach rubbing off onto your butt? Is that
No.
the concern?
And what's it for?
Is it better for the environment? I can imagine it's less chemical process.
I think Jordan's never taken a shit.
No, I know what toilet roll is. You keep it in there, it's decorative. But like
No, Jordan.
It's loo paper, first of all.
yes, loo paper. Well, loo paper you use to wipe, but toilet paper in America, you never use that. Ranking wise, you should probably. I mean, we have horrible air where we live, so there's by the way. But I have an air purifier.
No, I was going to
have a
say, I
couple.
remember when the fires were happening, and I was so glad that I had the air purifiers because it was like
Seeping.
meaningfully making the air like more palatable, like in my home.
It's the most noticeable thing. I feel like a lot of people are the same with like, I don't know, like deodorant stuff or like cleaning their tongue, where it's like, I'm just not going to do that. Maybe I'll get away with it. You're only going to notice it when you really notice it, but it is always there.
Yeah.
It's like, if it's a really sunny day, you're going to see from the light beam the dust floating around. But then it gets dark. You're like, I guess it's gone.
I
guess
will
I won't
say,
need an air purifier.
I will say that I got my air purifier thinking that it would improving the air quality would help my sleep, and none of that happened.
Pre-nose fix?
Yeah, pre-nose fix.
I think the reason she's bringing it up is because it's like boys aren't supposed to care about these things. Like,
They're in
That's a
England
good
too.
point.
She's not just British, right? This is in England. Because if so,
is.
this instantly makes so much sense. This is peak notions. This guy has notions of liking specific things and having preferences.
Do you? Okay.
Unacceptable.
British men are not supposed
He
to.
probably
gonna
owns
bring up-
sunglasses.
I'm going to bring up a term that this feels adjacent to that's been in retirement. Metrosexual.
Right.
I was thinking as soon as you said that, I'm like, scanning.
Yes.
Hangover
early
just came out in
2000s.
theaters. Dark Knight's coming out soon.
I feel like that was like any man that took care of himself.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
Even
it had to
just
have a
like-
special term.
It's gender failure. Like it
Yeah.
was, but in like a,
We lost one, boys.
yeah, he's failing.
He's
not,
he's no longer covered in mud, wearing a blue shirt.
Well, and like in the late 90s, early 2000s, there were things like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, where it's
exactly.
like specifically for straight
It was
men.
for almond boyfriends.
to be like
almond boy
you
for
need
the
a
straight guy.
Because like metrosexual, it was like he cuts his hair.
Yes.
He gets haircuts.
Is Metro supposed to be like the city?
Yeah.
Like,
Modern.
like, oh, he's one of those city slickers.
Yeah. Yeah.
He like uses a toothbrush.
Yep.
Always being said, by the way, with like by guys with a $90,000 truck with
Right.
nothing in the bed of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like LARPing is just a different kind of dude.
Yeah. Going into debt for the like insane car payment on your Ford F950.
Me and my Hummer are judging you for using hair gel.
Nuggets of frankincense. When heated, they also purify the air. Because I guess the air filter's not enough.
So what's that? That one I don't. Franken, it's like being revived from the dead.
What do you call it? Aromatherapy.
Oh.
It's an aromatherapy thing.
Okay, sure. And massage gun, again, like a Theragun is like, that's not like pseudoscience. I mean, that like
This
helps.
guy seems to just kind of be taking care of himself.
Is he like
a
work
little
out
bit.
a lot? I don't know. Maybe it's tight
it's like
muscles.
a normal guy, but also we live in Los Angeles. So
Yeah.
Oh, you're
maybe
so
that's
right.
it,
That is
too.
it. Yeah, it's peak notions. Like if the idea of having any item that is in pursuit of taking care of yourself,
Right.
of wearing anything that your girlfriend didn't buy you.
Yeah, men
if your
are not
girlfriend bought it
supposed to
for
take care of
you,
themselves.
you're a loser. But also, if you bought it for yourself, then you're the only thing you're allowed to buy as a lad is a t-shirt that's like 3 sizes too small because you're on like the most aggressive steroid trend cycle imaginable.
Wait, but
And skinny jeans.
how is lifting weights and steroids not a part of that? It doesn't make sense, is what I'm trying to say.
What do you mean?
It contains contradictions.
So
Yeah, because
patriarchal gender roles, they've gotten us this far, so it's weird to complain about them now. I think we've all had a pretty good experience with it so
it
far.
wasn't a problem when we were hunting and gathering.
Helps break down lactic acid and reduce stiffness.
Yeah.
A weighted vest. I think
Cool.
this is about 20 kilograms.
That's like the most Jordan coded, circa 2016. This would be something that would be like on the floor in your apartment in 2016. Did you have one? Okay.
This is a thing that's popular in LA right now. It's
Yeah.
called rucking.
Yeah.
And like honestly, having it in 2016, 2017 is kind of ahead of the trend. It's kind of the behavior of a man who, capital I influencer, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Isaac Newton, why are you talking about gravity? You know what I mean? It's like people living in the past understand the future.
No.
Is my point. And you are right, yes. And I currently also do have one in my room on the floor.
Chalk for better grip strength, which is a key indicator of longevity.
He sounds like he's just a climber.
Well, yeah, no, hold on. I feel like that's like for if you do like a certain type of lifting,
Yeah.
and for climbing, you would use that. The grip strength thing is like you gain the grip strength from being able to do the exercises from having the chalk on your hands.
Caution is very much a gender failure thing, especially in the case of like, there's like so many bad stories of people getting hernias from not wearing lifting belts.
Oh, right.
Professionally and just for at the gym. Because it just feels like, well, I'll just use my big, strong body.
Oh,
but
yeah.
the truth is like, it's not about how big, strong your body is. It's actually just like less helpful because you're not isolating the thing you're trying to do. You're just...
And you're like straining other parts of. I feel like so much of form for exercise is not about the optics. It's about making sure that kinetically the right stuff is being exercised.
Because otherwise you just wear a weighted vest and you run around.
Reminds me of guys not wanting to wear helmets.
Yeah.
Because it's not fucking sick. and we have a friend, they were like, I wonder if this is like an unreasonable reason not to date someone, but they're European and
Yeah, that's good enough.
and they're 7'5". They're when they bike around New York, they don't want to wear a helmet because Europeans don't wear helmets.
Yeah.
That is a good enough reason.
And I'm like, and it's like, I don't want to date this person because this is like a sign of the kind of like, if you were my actual like partner, I would be worried about you.
Yeah.
And I don't want that stress in my life.
It's kind of corny, to be honest.
I agree.
Because I feel like reframing just basic insecurity as something that's like, I'm going to take a little bit of just a fraction of umbrage with, I'm going to say my fellow Europeans. I know that allegedly we Brexited, but I'm trying to drag us back together. I went there manually. I was like Chris Evans holding onto the helicopter in Winter Soldier. You know, I'm doing what I can. Or Civil War, one of the movies.
You're Spider-Man holding onto 2 webs, trying to pull something together.
Actually, yeah, I'm sorted out.
Okay.
And I'm John Wick. I'm a mischief.
Wait, so it was you that had this problem?
Yeah, I'm not going to date that guy. But there is a thing I think that like, and I can only speak to kind of the culture I grew up around, but it is kind of a classically European thing talking about America, where things we don't do, we frame as moral failures in the US, like wearing a helmet, but also having a really big fridge. Like,
or air conditioning.
Air conditioning, it's like, oh, you need that? Like, no, I want it.
Yeah.
And it's good to have it. And no one in the US is going like, oh my God, what a horrible moral failing not having AC. They're going,
Also,
you should get AC. It's gross.
With climate change, with AC, my nan won't die. You know what I mean? Like
Me nan.
Me nan.
Me nan won't die. But yeah, there is I didn't wear a helmet in San Francisco for so long. I rode my bike every day.
In San Francisco and New York, it's like famously dangerous to bike there. Yeah. Like because the drivers like just do not like look out for their fellow like pedestrian
road
people.
users.
And then also probably the same psychology of the reason that someone's not is not wearing a helmet. People do risky things on bikes and stuff, and that stresses me out.
True.
And people not using their blinker, which every time I've heard people talk about it, it is absolutely the like, well, yeah, what a real man doesn't do that. Like, this is my road. I'm doing my thing. I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't think a real man gets turned 2-dimensional by a truck either.
I do every time if I'm alone, even and in the car, because you've seen me do this. Someone will like turn and I'll be like, no blinker. Okay,
Interesting.
interesting. And it's like, and in time,
I suppose the king of the road changed
and
the
it's
law.
like, and the thing about using your turn signal is that it's supposed to be it's supposed to be muscle memory, and you're supposed to do it without thinking about it.
Yeah.
So when you don't do it sometimes, I know that you just don't do it a lot.
You are weak of spirit.
Yeah. Just do it because it's protecting yourself, but also everyone else around
Just
you.
get in the habit.
You know, there's loads of these that like, and the more I think about them now, it's stuff that I started doing because I grew up, and intuitively at the time I didn't. Case in point, before the topic of vaccines had quite the cultural purchase it has now. Granted, anti-vax stuff has always been around, but it's a little different now.
It's crazy to think about the old discourse back
Yeah.
then.
That it used to be more about like, I don't know if I want the measles one for my kid, but maybe when they're older.
Yeah, because I've heard about the autism risks or
Right.
whatever.
I remember I used to not get like flu vaccines. I'm just like, whatever, I'll just tank it, whatever, what do I care? And then at the Patreon office, because this is when I'm like 22, and I just said that, I'm like, it's whatever, I don't mind getting sick, I typically don't. And then someone was like, yeah, but it means you're more likely to be a carrier and can give it to someone else. And I went like, oh, I'd just chosen the narrative, which was conveniently the thing that also means I don't have to book an appointment
Then
and
I get
go
to
somewhere.
do everything that's already comfortable for me, and that way I
And you
don't
get
have to
to
change
look
anything.
like a tough, cool guy
Yeah, but
who
it's also
doesn't
good.
need vaccine.
I don't want to mess up my hair with the helmet, but also fuck this
There's also
helmet.
like the low chance of like even crazier stuff happening where it's like, it's just all the reason to, protect yourself.
Mittens. I think they work by then cooling your like core temperature, which increases strength and endurance.
I don't know what you guys are expecting. I was anticipating style and presentation stuff, and it's almost all fitness stuff.
Yeah, a
which
lot of it
obviously
does feel
correlated.
like the dude type that's like Jordan in his 20s.
Okay, come on.
So what do the comments look like on that one?
Yeah. Kill him.
Oh, look at that. That's
Interesting.
metrosexual. Does almond mean a bit gay?
Bruce Bogtrotter.
And then is this your boyfriend and it's Brian Johnson?
Yeah.
As if like
that's the same.
As if like wanting to reduce the lactic acid after I don't even do any of this stuff.
It's just like
I don't
no
brush my teeth.
process. I don't wipe my ass.
I don't wipe my ass.
It's a little gay.
It's a little, and I am not that. Does your boyfriend have a boyfriend? Oh, are we doing like casual homophobia again?
wait,
like
look.
like big time?
And it's happening.
And not that it never ever went away, of course.
It's people doing that, and then 15% more progressive people doing he's rich. And that's the
Consumerism.
moral failure.
Okay, it's like again, consumerism final boss. It's like I feel like consumerism final boss is when you do I'm going to pour this container into another container. thing.
Yeah, that's true. I'm almost bummed that the comments and the reaction to that are so confrontational because the original video is just a bit of fun
I know,
about a bit of a fussy boyfriend.
Doesn't that feel like the moment we're in?
Can't
Where
it
it's
just
like
be
everything
fuzzy?
needs to be like.
I'm like, isn't magic fun? They're
It's
like, let's do a witch hunt.
ostensibly this woman is in love with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, this idiot.
Good reason to leave him.
Yeah.
I saw one comment that was like, man, I need an almond boyfriend. I'm like, oh, okay, because it's like you
Yeah.
enjoy those kind of. A lot of those are hobbies, and I think they
Yeah.
get taken away or like restructured as something else. But like, it is a bit of fun to have little self-care.
It's the other
hobbies.
thing where it's like a woman's not allowed to have a bit of fun online because like a woman's not allowed to be coy or be jokey or whatever. It's like people are always like, oh, you're serious, then I'm going to take you at complete face value. Yep. And then also women aren't funny because I don't recognize anything a woman says
never
as a
seen
joke.
one joke.
I'm always curious of like how people latch on to the content. Is often reflective of like a current like media moment.
Because the truth is like I do sort of understand because like I think everybody has an endless wellspring right now of like frustration and grievances and pet peeves and like no real safe way to express them or a way to feel like you're excising that feeling at all. But it doesn't have to be everywhere all the time. Part of me is like, this could have been look at my fussy little boyfriend.
Yeah.
Which may also play into problematic like gender expectation, but completely
loves him.
punching sideways,
It's
like
like-
no drama.
It's like, and of course, this is not her fault.
She seemed to get it.
But the thing is, if he was in the video, you know that the comments would be very different.
Yes, yeah.
It's like if he was in the video and he was like, "It's for climbing," and then people would be like, "Oh, he's cute."
Yes,
you know what I mean.
this
Like,
guy.
it's because
He's so puppy coded.
because it's it's a hypothetical. They can fill it in with wherever their grievance actually lies.
Yes.
Like,
But this
the-
guy is off screen and he looks like my ex.
Like the fact that like we saw 20 consumerism final boss comments felt like someone had that preloaded in the chamber and wanted to just get it off.
This one's about money.
Yeah.
That actually is a great. That's kind of like the I'm out of ammo. I'm just going to blow myself up with the grenade final
Yeah.
option, where it's like, okay, I can't critique them on this. I don't have any evidence of this other thing. I have nothing substantive
But I
to say
have
about
to
this.
comment.
But I hate this, and I don't know why. So I think it's because he's overspending. POV, you ask your almond husband for a snack on a road trip.
And it's half a banana.
What's? Oh, I thought that
Oh.
he filled it with like ice
I
cream.
it's
also
like-
thought it was like filled with something.
So have it like, being handed half a banana instead of a whole banana.
Now that's interesting because that is now we've moved the role again. That now it's the doer, not the doee.
So this is what I would traditionally call almond. Like this is something
Yeah.
that's like it, I told my mom I was hungry when I was a little kid.
gotta have
She
banana.
said have 6 almonds,
Yeah, and I'm like, I have so many questions, but I will simply say, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. Me bottled water husband. Okay, he has a snack drawer of snacks.
Some dried fruit and nuts.
and 90%
90% dark chocolate.
Which I will say, I love dark chocolate, but even for me,
Pushing it.
90%.
That's
90%
so-
pushing it.
90% for like medicinal purposes.
I was gonna say, like, that to me is performative the way that when people are disgusted by putting anything in black coffee.
Oh my.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not like, it's not about how you prefer your coffee. It's like when someone scoffs at the prospect of putting
Yes.
something in there. Oh, would you like any milk and cream in that? I could never.
Are you out of your mind?
Are you out of your gourd, dude?
The other things I have with other things? My God.
Oh my
no.
God, never to be mixed. I just prefer the. I mean, we are at a established Waffle House,
Man, be gone, man.
and I imagine your coffee master has brewed this freshly this morning.
my compliments to Mr. Nescafe.
Yeah.
I did
Is
ask
that
for
French?
I asked for decaf coffee one time and I didn't realize I was at a fancy place that was like that actually doesn't exist and we don't serve decaf here because I can't. He said something along the lines of like it corrupts the taste or
Yeah,
something like that. I'm like,
so it fucking does exist.
it does exist. I know because I've had it before.
Yeah.
Again, it's the default to like a little bit of moral failing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just like bad and I don't like it and it goes against my hobby.
Imagine if someone did that about like smoking cigarettes over vaping, and they were like, yeah, we don't have any of that synthetic bullshit here.
out of your
I will
mind.
smoke my rat poison all by my lonesome.
That is what cigar guys to some cigarette guys, though.
Yeah.
Everything trends upwards towards being more cringe.
Oh yeah, I'm not. Sorry, I'm not gambling. I'm investing.
Oh, that's right. I'm a Kalshi gal or whatever.
All right, this is his snack drawer, but let's see more.
More of the drawer.
Snack drawer.
95. Relax, bro.
95.
All right, this is going fast. Okay, he already prepares dinner in the morning.
Okay.
Okay,
By chopping a bunch of little things.
that's like
That's
just-
a kind of like a good idea.
that's like the kind of person I wish I was.
But he self-makes sauerkraut, kimchi and fermented
Okay, so
cauliflower.
he's a chef.
Yeah,
He's a home cook.
He's
He
a
goes to
home
work
cook.
and he wears this big white hat. And
yeah, and he's like, look at me, I'm making the food.
this guy's constantly hanging out in this kitchen.
He's particular about things.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. We all are,
It's
right?
but the humiliating guy, in my mind, is eating slightly undercooked chicken over the sink. That's like the guy I'm thinking of. It's doing
Right.
like only like the nastiest, grossest, unseasoned meal prep and like eating a plastic fork over the sink.
This is like, to me, I'm like, this is a real man, and I aspire to be someone who thinks ahead.
That's sick. I made some chicken thighs the other day in bulk. Forgot to eat them. But I did make a bunch of them, and then I had them with rice for like 2 days before I forgot to eat the rest.
This is something where I'm like, but like men should be allowed to make homemade sauerkraut. That's cool as hell.
I really hope this isn't in that brand of like partner video where they were not informed at all. That would drive me up.
Oh
the
man,
wall.
yeah. If you like find out, yeah.
Or if Katie posted like look at Jordan's mini figures paints or
It's
something.
like your
what
fear
the
of
fuck?
we were watching Survivor, and it just like the shots of someone just like not looking their best or like looking a little awkward as they like stumble into camp. And Jordan's
Dude,
like,
the
this is why I couldn't be on Survivor.
There was just I believe it was. I think it was Christian who he was just bending over to pick something up, but his back was like slightly bent, and it caught him in a slow frame of him just looking so vulnerable. Essentially, he's just like so delicate in that
Yeah.
moment. I'm like, no images can. There's already the podcast doing it.
Growing seeds on the couch. Okay,
He was
that's
a gardener too.
that's okay. So now that's getting into like shared space. I guess
That's
the fridge,
weird on the
the fridge. I'm like, that's the place that the sauerkraut has to go.
Actually, I don't really know. Is it like a thing where you like bloom the seeds and then you
yeah.
put
Plant
them in soil? So it's not like a week long.
It's not like sitting there for very long.
This guy has hobbies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what this is, and neither does this woman. But
Now that is interesting.
I'm imagining he's making something.
He always brings his own snacks. Okay. This just sounds like someone who I respect.
Making this
Yeah.
video about my kid and their lunchbox. They're always at school eating their
He's
snacks.
always eating his stuff.
It's just like a guy living well.
Yeah, this is someone who likes food, is what I'm guessing, and is very particular about food, and that's okay.
I'm just like, wow, that's like economical.
This guy rocks. Is it going to say like, and he's always amazing at guitar and skateboards
Yeah.
and like the best sex ever.
His steak always too juicy. His idea of a sweet treat. That is a sweet treat.
I would say this is definitely more aligned with what I consider almond.
But he's not a.
But he's not.
She's the almond.
He's not putting it
He's
on
not projecting
her.
it. Yeah.
He's just feeding himself what he likes to eat.
It is a little bit like
True. Yeah, he's having dinner.
he eats for nutrition, not for pleasure.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. But
Okay, that's fine. I know people
maybe
like
he takes
that.
joy in it.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like he's got his like little habits though, which is cool.
I mean, when I'm in on the occasions where I can develop and cultivate my being in my bag.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah,
am
he's in
in
his
my
bag.
zone
He's in
and
his
I'm
zone.
doing meal prep and I'm somewhat sleeping regularly and all of that stuff, the food tastes better. I feel better. Like everything is there. It's like, frankly, I would never want this shared. Like if
Right.
that was my friend, I'm like, oh, but that's my friend.
yeah.
I have those little hobbies, but they're not.
Anastasia meal preps like a little bitch. What? What are you talking
Yeah, my idiot
title.
friend. Look at them cooking for themselves.
Excellent read. I thought the exact same thing. I see the comment. Is he German by any chance? Yes.
And then I once dated a guy who called donuts circles of death. Okay, well that's,
that's just
extreme.
a scary person. Here we go. Sorry. Nothing but love. Tall white boyfriend. Iconic look. Certain type of boyfriend. You can get these online now.
You can buy them.
And they're legally assigned. If you're a lonely dude, you get hoodie girlfriend.
Okay.
And if you are,
Interesting.
if you're not specifically interested in dating, you get free Discord turbo.
What do you get if you're like a 6'1.5" podcast host?
Cursed with a left hand.
How about now? Check that out.
That was cool.
I haven't shared this on the internet yet, but the people must know because I bother my friend group with this all the time. But my husband is very crunchy. He doesn't even know what that means. He's honestly giving Almond Husband.
That he's doing boyfriend that wasn't expecting to be in a video posture where you
Yeah.
rock back and forth to sort of state yourself, you know?
Or like you're asking your kid to stay still.
But let me just tell you
Problematic high
guys some things that my husband does that make him very almondy and crunchy, if you will. It's giving granola daddy.
I realize there's been like a etymology thing. Like we've gone from almond having the application of the like Gigi Hadid story to literally crunchy granola almond.
But that's the thing, because I conflated those things in my head just because they sound like you can put almonds in granola.
Yeah.
And
When I heard the term, I did.
But then they see, in my mind, crunchy granola is like I'm hiking and I'm out in the woods.
I eat unadulterated nuts.
I eat unadulterated nuts,
I'm
and
lightly spiritual.
I'm lightly spiritual.
But I do think when applied to husbands and boyfriends, they are changing the definition of
Yeah,
almond.
we're watching language change in
In
real
real
time.
time.
It's just so interesting. It's like, because maybe I'm off. And I don't even know if this is like a chill term or not. I already used it, but like the cliche of the tiger mom, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, helicopter parent. There you
Helicopter
Okay.
parent.
go. I was kind of reading it like that.
Yeah, which I think is how it was origin.
I think
origin.
it is, but it specifically about appearance.
Does this? It kind of feels like if helicopter parent 10 years later, and people are like one that's a pilot, like a helicopter parent,
Right.
one with a big rotor on its head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has a
course.
big propeller hat.
They have those spinny hats, yeah.
Yeah.
helicopter parent. Enjoy school.
He makes ginger tea. That's for your stomach, right? Because ginger's like the best thing for your stomach.
And inflammation, yeah.
Yeah. He drinks a cup of his own ginger tea.
He's
that
never
he
used a mic in his
made
life.
No, he's
by
gonna
himself. Like, he
keeps
gets
drifting
ginger,
away.
This is like
boils
the
it.
guys that I see romanticized online, where it's like I want someone who's like not online, who doesn't know anything about the internet, and it's like this guy. He's like, "What's happening?
Huh?
Where is
What's
it?
that?
What am I holding?
What does that
a
mean?
A microphone?
Keeps drifting out of frame, and she's like, "No, the camera is here."
Yeah, the
Like,
camera.
What's wrong with him?
Like Tumani Kamara, the basketball player.
oh, yes, honey.
Okay.
I love
He looks like Klay Thompson.
that he drinks ginger tea.
Yeah, it seems like a good thing.
Good for your tummy.
But they say makes ginger tea.
Like he chops up ginger.
Or does he just buy the ginger tea
No,
from
she's saying
Yeah,
he
just chop
chops
up
up
ginger.
ginger and brews it.
'Cause you
and makes
can-
a tea.
the... All right.
Because yeah, you can do that's like literally even less work than making pasta.
He makes his own peanut butter, which you guys saw. He does that, every month and a half, maybe? How long does it last
Whenever I
you?
run out. I don't
Peanut
know.
Okay.
boyfriend.
Couple weeks.
Yeah. What else do you do? He sleeps with a sleep mask. That's not really crunchy. That's kind of high maintenance. I used to sleep with a sleep mask, but then we had a child. So
No,
We had a
that's fine.
child, and I sleep with the child on my face.
Wait, is
I've started doing it, and it is kind of helping. But like again, for fast forward back, rewind. I don't know, 5 years even, maybe a little over that, and I would be like, I'm a man. I don't need that. Again, it's like the dismissing any kind of personal effort type
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
And the truth is, okay, this is a perfectly sweet video, by the way. This is not.
this is
a
very
gesture to
sweet.
this.
This is very sweet. I'm jealous of them.
But the bones of it are like kind of predicated on what we were talking about in like gender expectation, performance, etc. Which, before the most annoying people in the world comment about it, is not comparable to what the experience is to not being a cis man.
Oh,
It is,
no, absolutely
we're,
not.
with champagne problems. But there is a case of like, I think sometimes within our bubble, ideological, social, political bubble, I think we have a tendency to maybe overemphasize how gender performance for men is unnecessary. Like, it is unhealthy and it is dangerous. It is toxic to yourself as it is to others to engage with the toxic elements of masculinity. But I feel like it's a little disingenuous for us to always frame it as something that is completely unnecessary and no one cares about, because you will get bullied and you will get made fun of for it. Within our bubble,
For
no.
like not performing.
It's like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
boys don't cry. Well, actually, you can cry anytime you want. Like, no, you fucking can't. You actually can't. Like, you
you
say that.
but then there's consequences socially depending on what your environment
Yes.
is, and you're always playing this. There's always. I mean, this is mainly when you're younger, but I'm sure it can apply like in other situations as well. But like where you're trying to like what prevent the dam from breaking,
Yeah.
but also like. You want to be you always want to be a member of the in group, right?
Absolutely. And it's kind of like you don't want to be observed. It's a particular pet peeve just because it's also something that I think I've certainly indulged in the past before thinking a bit more critically about it. It's very tempting to say like real masculinity is being open and being available and supportive and all of these things and expressing your emotions. And it's like, well, wait, it should be. But it is not right now, because gender is only expectation. Gender is a social construct. We can aspire and do that because we're privileged enough to be in an environment where we can. But if I tell like 7-year-old kid that lives in a super conservative environment, and I'm just like, yeah, just express yourself, be whatever you want, dress however you want.
It's like knowing your audience and knowing where you are and having to present within like. When I was boxing and I was at the boxing gym, I wasn't like friends with I wasn't comfortable with every single person that you see at the boxing gym. And so there is a certain like performance, it's like you're not your full comfortable self as you would be when I'm like in my home.
Yeah.
Or something like that, or amongst like the people closest to me.
I was made to feel bad
Yeah.
because I didn't wear dresses and my mom made me wear dresses.
I had gap in my teeth, scar on my head. and people told me about it all the time. And I was like, oh, well, my life would be easier if I didn't have gap in my teeth scar on my head.
But like, and then getting the thing people want to say immediately is like, no, those are fine. And it's like the parental move there, right? With the in the case of your parents would be like, hey, heads up, the world is this way right now.
Yeah.
And
this is why
you are actually in the right here. Yeah. I'm going to encourage this in this way, but I also just want you to know and be prepared for this thing, but you are in the right.
It's like when the argument against systemic racism is like, well, we got rid of we got rid of slavery so long ago. Okay, these things we do not simply say you can express yourself however you want now, and then everything's fine. It's like people are still being bullied for their expression, or people are still being othered or made to feel unwelcome in whatever spaces. And so it's like to pretend that doesn't happen and it's a solved problem is like false.
I think it's inconsiderate of someone's actual experience, because I mean, we're talking about it from one of the most privileged kind of like business. I grew up in an environment that was not like, in my presentation did not have a lot of friction with the place. More than usual. There's some race stuff because, not super diverse place. But also like, I was a bit of a emotional kid. I was a bit vulnerable. I was a bit, like had a lot of like weird tics and compulsions also when I was younger. And my mom very kindly was like, no, that's okay. That's good to be that way. And she was right, but I needed more setup. I needed to get I would have benefited from a heads up. You are going to be this way. And just a heads up, someone is going to mention it and that they might say something like this.
It might make you feel bad.
They are wrong. But if you don't, I think a lot of people, include like a parent, will be in a position where they're like, yeah, well, if a 9-year-old said that to me, I wouldn't fucking care.
Yeah.
I'm an adult.
Easier
just be grown up.
These TikToks we're watching, they are coming from the female partner who loves them and cares about them.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's gentle ribbing. It's not
for sure.
actually,
it's fun.
Some of the comments are really mean.
Well, it's funny because this is what I was talking about. When the husband is present, it's a different vibe. I do want to point out, look at this comment, the second comment here.
Wow, I think my husband is also crunchy skull emoji. What the fuck? His thing is air filters, though. He's very passionate about air filtration. I hesitated because I just saw his thing. I went,
oh yeah.
What are we? Okay.
I just thought,
why are air filters?
I'm like just noticing that air filters are a thing where these ladies are like, he freaking cares about the air quality. It's insane.
Is it the LA bubble that's getting us? I feel like this.
Maybe it's the because we live in the fire zone.
If you live in the Alps, air filtration maybe isn't a problem. If you live in like the countryside and in like a beautiful kind of natural space, but we live in a city where historically we've had like air quality
famously
issues.
Bad air.
Yeah.
Like famously bad air.
We have bad air when it's not on fire.
That's like that. It's so famous that the original names of coughing and wheezing, the Pokemon, were going to be NY and LA.
Really?
Yeah.
Like ENWHY, like NY.
Just LA. Like
just the letters?
As the story goes, it's literally LA.
That's awesome.
Like NY and LA, like La and Nye.
That's
so funny.
That's actually fucked up.
He uses mouth tape to sleep at night.
Just the imagery. So much of his face is covered.
Mouth tape is like, I still don't know where the jury is at with mouth tape, because I don't know if you have sleep apnea, like obstructive sleep apnea, what happens like when you use mouth tape.
Feels like you would not get air.
Which is why I was afraid of ever trying it. But I understand the ingredients to that conclusion.
I think the perceived hippie crunchiness of these kind of self-care products is why there's so many like the carbon fiber, army kinetic version of the hostage tape.
Right.
It's not mouth tape for girls.
It's hostage tape. It's gunmetal colored.
Don't worry.
Base camp orange.
Yes. You don't need to feel self-conscious about taking care of yourself because you're in the army.
Army green.
Your phone case is in the army.
Your phone case is in the army. Your CPAP machine is tactical.
This man appreciates quality sleep, which we all should. Sleep's very important.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
POV, you get froyo with your almond dad. Hilarious. And
Oh, this is like a European size because in America they wouldn't let you have. I don't know this for sure,
This
but
would be
like,
a testing
like they're in New
cup.
York. I'm pretty like because I can see on the bag, but it is funny because America has had like the size growth of portion sizes.
the satisfaction to me of having like one big scoop and then wanting a little more and getting an extra is so much more like fulfilling than having all my scoops at once. Because then I feel more like I've indulged.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I got 3 scoops over
It's
time.
also just so much easier to eat the pint if you're holding the pint.
Yeah, I did go sicko mode that time we watched.
And there was
Survivor.
nothing wrong with that.
That was some good sorbet.
I was
as
eating
well.
some chocolate gooey brownie.
I gotta say,
and I tactically left it at your place so I didn't eat the whole thing that night.
I kinetically disengaged from the
Yeah.
combat situation.
When you're married to an almond husband.
They're watching TV at night together, and he's like on a walking pad, but he looks like he's hurting and he's eating a peach or something.
Yeah, is he limping?
He's like,
Oh yeah.
what's the term? Hurt.
In bed. And
Like
he's eating
she's
an egg.
curled up in bed watching a TV show,
Red light.
and he is sweating and eating a peach.
Is he walking on the almonds?
He looks like he should rest his ankle.
Is the walking pad covered in Legos?
This is like in Resident Evil when you're at like low health.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand? Yeah, but you have to like. He needs a green herb.
You're Grace, and you're slipping on blood.
Dude, spoilers.
Ooh, sorry, that's
Blood
right in the beginning, though.
No.
No, wait, the residents evil? They just moved in.
I know, they should have known.
Why? No, too much.
That's
This is all I need to keep me full.
What
So good.
okay. You're coping. This is all I need to keep me full. No need to
That's
protest.
It's like, yeah.
It's like he's doing it as a trophy. It's like this is all I need to get me full. I'm trying to show how efficient my body is.
I don't need a jacket. I'm not even cold.
Yeah.
Very much my father. This
Wearing
guy
shorts.
reminds me of my dad.
Shorts in winter.
But you can tell that because this is her dad, right? It is funny because the child is trolling him by putting the ice cream on the thing. It's like, oh, you want the ice cream? Take a little bit of your bed. No, that's more than I need.
that was a little bit of fun,
I
wasn't
want
it?
to have some almonds.
Guilt and shame just don't ever help anything.
Oh wait, hold on. I got it.
Seemed like it was gonna
Guilt
rhyme.
and shame make Jane a lame dame.
Yeah, she sucks.
Wow.
That's something.
That was
I
pretty
hate her.
good.
Thank you.
She's an
Wow.
awful person. I don't like her.
We should put that in school books.
We should put that in school books because I want
the
to
middle.
advise against feeling guilt and shame about
Guilt and
things
Yeah.
shame.
unless you harm someone. But
Yeah, that's true.
But most of my guilt and shame is about myself.
Yeah, that's the thing is I think we
lame dame.
often are just shaming ourselves.
And it makes us a lame dame.
Which I want to talk more about that in connection with Virgin Island over on
oh
Sad
my
Boyz
God.
Nightz.
There's a real show called Virgin Island, and it's not the show called Are You My First, which I made a gold video about. It's a different show called Virgin Island. And I told Anastasia to look into it to see if we should make a video about it. And then Anastasia was like, oops, I watched the whole show and I'm crying now.
I did
so
say that.
we're gonna-
Anastasia was like, this is me. I'm a big virgin.
And so we're going to talk about that on Sad Boyz Nightz and also other stuff, I imagine.
What if I was? No guilt or shame.
No guilt or shame.
Promise ring.
Because this one over here is not a lame dame.
Yes. A regular dame.
A regular dame, Lillard.
You should get my Dame Vigo.
We end the podcast. We end every episode of Sad Boys.
We had every episode.
It's like a text description. They end the podcast. We end every episode of Sad Boys with a particular phrase.
We love you.
And we're sorry.
Almond boom.
Almond boom.
Gucci girl, how you doing? How you moving, girl? Moving, girl. How's your day looking? That future girl, yeah, we on now. Take my money, go away, all you want it.
Girl, too rich for me.